So I guess that's our audio test.
It was. It was.
Okay. Jason, I like that jacket you got on. Kris, you good?
Yeah, I thought I had my water, but I lost it.
Do you have it now?
No, I'm good. We good.
Gotta make sure it's gonna be a lot of talking points in this episode. So you want to make sure you got some water close by just in case. Yeah. It's highly anticipated. All right, gentlemen. Yeah. Okay. Hey everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the Was It Good Though podcast, where we discuss, debate, and argue a little on movies and TV shows, old and new. Excuse me. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jazz. I am joined with Kris. Kris, how you feeling?
Feeling good. How y'all doing?
We here, excited for this review. Jason, fix your face. Jason,
Yeah,
our other co-host, Jason, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm watching the last 10 minutes of this movie, so my face is not going to be fixed until it ends.
I bet not. Bet it won't. But the movie that he is referring to is what we will be reviewing today. Episode 21, we are reviewing Hereditary. Yes, we've mentioned in past episodes about reviewing this movie. So we are finally doing it. Hereditary dropped in 2018, but I will go ahead and throw out spoiler alert for anyone who has not seen it. We are going to discuss the entire movie. So if you don't want anything spoiled, just go ahead and pause the pod. But before you go, please be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, follow us on our socials. And once you get caught up on the movie, come back and check out this episode. Okay. Jason, are you ready to rumble with this A24 film that they say is one of the best?
I am.
They said that?
Yeah, but you know, they
It's
talk
always,
a lot.
it always be, Hereditary is always like top 3 horror movies. But it's been like this since like 2018.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, as Jess said, we doing Hereditary. A24. Once again, spoiler alert. I found my water. Okay. Ha. We good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, 2018. That was 4 years ago. It doesn't feel like 4 years ago, but it was 4 years ago. So whatever. We open up with a funeral. RP. So her name is not Helen. Her name is Ellen. I didn't know that. I thought it was Helen this whole movie.
What are you talking about?
The grandma.
I never knew grandma's name.
Yeah. So her name's, I was making sure to get the names right, and it was actually Ellen. Yeah, she passes away. And this was, I don't know, this movie opened up weird. So I'm expecting horror, and we did Halloween, and we talked about how the movie opened up in the non-traditional sense. I feel like this whole movie going into it, I didn't really know what to expect out of it. I knew there would probably be some supernatural elements just based off of what I saw from the trailer, but I wasn't expecting this. As I said, we open up with the funeral, and we are introduced to the main character. Her name is Annie, who is played by Toni Collette. Great actress. She has a really good catalog as well. And we're introduced to her husband, Steve, and then she has 2 children. One of them named is Peter, and the other one, the little girl, her name is Charlie. And Charlie's a little bit different. I say that. She seems to be, I don't know.
Disconnected?
Huh?
Disconnected?
Yeah, okay, that's a good word to use. Disconnected. She's in her own world. Jazz, give us a little bit of what did you thought about Charlie?
Okay, so Charlie, I wasn't sure what to expect because when we're introduced to her, she's sleeping in the treehouse, and her dad went to go get her for them to get ready to go to the funeral. So she just seemed a bit standoffish when he went to go get her, because he was like, it was freezing last night and you're sleeping in the treehouse. There's no heating units up there. So sis just had her big old hoodie and went to go sleep in a treehouse. And so we see her at the funeral. She's walking past her grandmother's casket and just staring.
Yeah.
And then she pans to her right and she sees a man staring at her from a distance, and he's smiling. And so she has like the straightest face and her eyes are just like crystal blue. So it's just, she's giving off really eerie energy. And then she sees a woman go to her grandmother's casket and she like wipes something on her grandmother's lips because of casket, open casket. So Charlie just looking and she pulls out a candy bar. So she's eating it and her father immediately comes up to her and he's just like, that doesn't have nuts in it. And so she's like, no, it's just chocolate, which I believe is foreshadowing for what we will see later in the film. So, and you can just see, it doesn't seem like his family, they didn't really seem too upset that their grandmother passed away. And they just didn't seem really close.
Yeah.
That's the gauge that I got when I was introduced to him.
Yeah, I definitely got that same sort of energy from the whole situation. We get to this point and then I don't really know like how we get to here, but we figure something's up with Charlie. And me looking at not only the trailer, but just seeing how the movie opens up, I'm like, hey, she's a crucial part of this film. Like she's gonna have a big role to play. We get into it a little bit more and we see Charlie is still disconnected. She acting a bit weird. She has a bird that flew into the window, correct?
When she was at school.
Right.
Yeah.
And then whenever I see kids like playing with animals, in a sense, I'm sort of like something's off. Jason, what did you think about this scene and everything that's going on at this point?
We're talking with the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, so when they're at school, like I said, she's just disconnected because she's playing like I don't know. I guess it's just kids. They always creating, making something. So she's in here not paying attention to class. Same exact thing as Peter. Neither one of them are paying attention to what's going on in the actual classroom. What happened?
No, I was saying Peter was focused on something else.
Oh yeah. Well, Peter, his focus is of course on the young lady, but her focus is more so into the stuff that she's creating. Then the bird hits the window. Bird hits the window, and everybody is freaked out. But her, she's not. She's more focused on, oh, dead bird. I'm looking at these scissors. She goes out and, like I said, she seems super disturbed. She goes cut this bird head off as she's eating another chocolate bar within this actual scenario.
And I like this scene too. As I finish the movie, I don't want to say foreshadowing, but it does tie into something else that happened at the end. So I thought that was really dope. Then we talked about Peter. Of course, he's not paying attention to class. The way the girl looked at him was kind of wow. Like it's one thing to be like, oh, he's not paying attention. Like you sort of look at him funny, but she looked at him mad crazy. But whatever. He wants to go to a party. And his mom is basically grilling him about like, hey, you can be drinking. He doesn't answer directly. We know what's gonna happen. It's a high school party. And she suggests taking his sister with him. I don't think he was such a big fan of that, but he agrees just to get out of the house and go to the party. They end up at the party and he sees the girl that he was interested in class. He goes over, he's like, yo, I got some weed. Let's go smoke. Charlie still is very disconnected to the point where she won't even like go get a slice of cake at a party. Me looking at this, I figured she was a little bit weird, and then maybe something with the grandma passing had something to do with like the way she was so standoffish and everything else. But the cake was chocolate cake, which Jazz mentioned. We'll get back into it before. And then he goes to smoke with all the girls and everyone, and they get into a little bit about Charlie, but we don't get too much about her. Of course, the girl mentioned that Charlie made a drawing of her, and that was just unusual the way that she was drawn. And then things escalate a little bit with this cake situation.
Yeah. So, you want to take it, Jason?
I'm gonna let you get it.
Okay, so when they enter the party, I thought this was weird because then you see the camera angles itself at the nuts being chopped up for the cake.
Yeah, the pecans.
And so immediately it's just like it's a foreshadowing situation because you're just like, they making chocolate cake. Charlie loves
chocolate.
Yeah.
So I was just like, this isn't going to be good. And then Peter, like you mentioned, Kris, doesn't really want her there, and Charlie doesn't want to be there. And so he's trying to go off to go smoke with this girl. And he's just like, Charlie, I'm gonna be gone for 2 minutes. And I'm thinking like, I feel like Charlie is probably in middle school, or no, they're probably around the same age because they're both in school together.
She's like 13 or something, I think.
Okay. So it's a nice little age gap between them. You take your younger sibling to a party like that and you just leave them, like that's insane to me. Completely irresponsible, especially her being a girl and she's not very sociable. But he wasn't even thinking about her. He was just thinking about that hoe from class.
The entire like thing though, like from the way Annie is with the kids to the way Charlie is with her brother and how Peter is with his sister, like that entire dynamic was kind of weird. And like you said, kind of like you said, Jazz, you see when it comes in, she's chopping up the pecans and whatever kind of nuts they were on the actual table. Then he was like, "Hey, there's chocolate cake. Go get some cake." She was like, "That's not for everybody." He was like, "No, it's for everybody." And then the cake is in focus, but you do see some cakes in the back out of focus. And then it switches, and then you see those cakes actually have nuts in them that she was actually looking at. And during this actual time, I feel like the mom was trying to push Charlie to go with him because during this time she's also going through her grieving with her actual mom, and she's been going to grieving counseling. And within this, we do have more of a better outlook on who or why she is, and she kind of breaks down. Her father had psychotic depression, and he starved himself to death. We have her brother who felt as if the mom was trying to put bodies into him, and he hung himself in her room. And then we have, who her mom had DID, which I think is dissociative. I think it's a personality disorder.
I think
but
same thing Moon Knight had, I think.
Correct. Yes, that's exactly what it was. So she was dissociative in person, something like that. I'm not going to medically try.
Moonlight had it too.
No, that's what he had.
That's what Moon Knight had, yeah.
That's what he had. So
Think they related?
I hope not.
Yeah, that's a good family to be associated with right there.
But we know his came from being beaten from his mom based on the death of a younger sibling. So yeah, so we're dealing with this. I don't know, like I said, it was just it was a lot that she was dealing with. Her mom was not the best mom within that scenario, but like she said, she drew to the actual kid, well, to the daughter, not the son, to the actual daughter. So that entire situation. But I'll get it back to you, Kris.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that in a minute, but like you said, we see, they're smoking, and Charlie comes in and she can't breathe. She's having trouble breathing. And when I first saw this scene, I thought I wasn't expecting a food allergy. I thought she was just kind of like bugging out. We was going to see what was wrong with her, but it was actually a food allergy and something is wrong. And Charlie rushes out of the party. I thought this was interesting too, and I noticed this later on in the film. But as they're going to the actual party, the camera focuses in on a telephone pole, and there's like you saw the symbol on the telephone pole, and I'm like, that has to have some significance. And then we see later on how this comes into play. So Charlie can't breathe, and he rushes her out of the party, and he's trying to get her to the hospital. As he's driving, she's struggling really bad to breathe, and she ends up putting her head out the window to try to get some air. And very conveniently or inconveniently in this sense, he swerves. I think it was a dead deer. It was a deer. It was some type of animal in the street. And he ends up hitting that exact same pole. Well, he swerves into, towards the pole, and Charlie's head ends up hitting that pole, and it comes right off. And I saw this scene, and I'm just like, what is this movie? Like, what just happened? Because like I said, I watched the trailer the night before we were recording this, and it seemed as the little girl was going to be the focal point of the film. So I wasn't expecting her to be killed off and then in that manner. Jason, when you saw this,
she got a Ned.
Huh?
She got a Ned.
Yeah, she definitely got a Ned. Yeah, she definitely got a Ned. And that was crazy. Jason, when you saw this, what were your thoughts? Like, what was you?
At that point, the movie just took a turn for me. It was just I was super uneasy after seeing her get beheaded, and I was wondering how the situation was going to be handled from here. And we see how Peter reacted. Like, Peter was just in shock, just like, oh my God, this what happened. And I just think about the one time I did wreck my mom's car when I was like 18, not paying attention. I'm playing music. I'm looking to the right of me, looking at the traffic, flowing with the actual traffic, but not knowing that the car in front of me hasn't moved. Well, it was 18-wheeler. It's not moving. Everybody else is, just not me. Not So I take off and I hit the car, and just how scared I was or afraid I was to tell my mom about this scenario. And he treated it like it was just a nothing within that situation. So that just plays more into the dynamic of a mom who's dealing with the grieving, at which I don't know if she's really fully has accepted everything that is going on, and then she's dealing with a mother that she really didn't have a connection with. She's dealing with that grieving, and now her son left what typically maybe like, hey, it's a little fender bitter type of situation, but he left a beheaded child in the car for her to find. Yeah.
This scene was mad disturbing. Of course, we cut to the mom, and she was just like yelling and crying. I was just like, bro, that was mad disturbing. But before we go forward, Charlie was allergic to nuts. Are y'all allergic to any food? Y'all got any food allergies?
I don't. I'm allergic to a medicine, but that's it.
That don't count. Okay.
I'm not allergic to anything.
Jazz said no snacks are safe. It don't even matter.
Hey, all snacks matter.
Oh man, but no, I thought it was crazy, and then it seemed like the son, he was just trying to. I don't know if that was his way of dealing with it, but it almost seemed like he couldn't believe what just happened. Like not telling, the mom. I don't know if he was afraid of what would happen, which you can't really avoid that, or he just was in disbelief himself. But it was just a very weird, like you said, the dynamic of this whole family was very strange. And then things, kick off from here.
Wait, I gotta speak on this. No, this scene pissed me off when I watched this movie, because yes, you're in shock, but you were supposed to be on your way to the hospital, but then you go to the crib, leave her head or leave her body in the back seat of the car, then you go in bed and lay down, and don't tell anybody. So y'all be in that much shock, like you had the forethought to be able to get home and then to get into your bed. I'm looking at this movie, I'm like, ain't no fucking way. Like I hate cult films because stupid.
I
didn't even know it was a cult film yet.
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, so that the cult aspect of this movie doesn't. I mean, it lingers throughout the actual movie, yes, because we have
in hindsight,
you have the funeral. They got all these little weird people. The mom didn't know anybody at the funeral. You have just people that's just popping up in different places. So at this point, like I said, I really don't know where or what's, like I said, where the movie is actually taking us. And like I said, although Charlie does get killed 30 minutes into the actual movie, her presence is felt throughout the rest of the actual movie. So,
right.
And that's more so what I feel like that's what a horror movie really does. Like the embodiment of a person can last throughout the movie, even if they're on the screen for 2 minutes at a time. Whenever they pop up, it's just the impact of what they've done so far or throughout this movie. When is it going to appear again, or what's going to happen because of this actual situation?
Did y'all pay attention to the different sculptures that they made sure to show on screen? That all the different sculptures, that she was making, like each of them like somewhat told a story. That
Bruh, she had the one. It's like her laying in bed, and then her mom's in the.
Right, because her mother was breastfeeding Charlie.
Yes, the mom is she's in the bed, she's breastfeeding. The mama got her breast out at the same exact time as she's doing it. Like, yeah.
It's like all of those little sculpture that she was making, they tied into the story very well, because as you see, as you're going along, she's adding more additional things to it, connecting to things that she's seeing. So Correct. They definitely told a story.
You also have the one piece I did want to touch on was when they were in class, when Charlie was unfocused, or he was focused on something, but he wasn't focused on the actual lesson. You hear the story that they're telling about, whatever book they're reading. And I felt like this was more so like some, the typical meta commentary that we get from a horror movie. People are addressing what's happening within the actual story. And she was saying, these people don't know their pawns in this horrible, hopeless machine. And as the movie plays out, this is exactly what's happening with them. They don't even know they're in this sick game that they were pretty much born into.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did notice the one sculpture which the husband made note of with the daughter's head in the in the street, which was
Yeah, that was close to the end, but yeah, that's when you was like, yeah, now she losing it.
yeah, that was the main one I noticed.
Why Peter didn't get arrested?
That's a very good question. But
Have y'all ever dealt with somebody being murdered close to y'all?
yeah.
No.
So, I know it's kind of going dark, but this is the end of our Halloween situation. My neighbor and my uncle, well, not my neighbor, my grandmother, her neighbor and my uncle got into a fight, and my uncle got killed. Um, my grandmother was more dealing with that in that situation. She was super forgiving, but with her, she was like, I don't want to press charges. The death will kill him or hurt him a lot more than him going to prison. So she allowed him to live with that pain of that situation. And even to this day, that still comes up. Like that situation still comes up as far as eating at him based on something so minuscule causing him to kill somebody within that situation. So
You think that's what
But
the mom was doing?
they didn't have to press charges. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. She didn't. My grandmother.
so
She didn't. I mean, so you don't. But
no,
you don't have to.
they
You don't. He doesn't have to go to. He doesn't have to go to jail if they don't say arrest him type situation though. It goes into them.
wait, what? You saying if they her Jason?
It's different if it'd be different if it was like a think about a
I mean,
vehicular
I
like
feel
a
like a
vehicle like a
manslaughter charge would be brought. Like Peter just went back to school
they
as
didn't
if nothing happened.
the parents would have to be the ones to do that though. They would have to be the ones to do that because he killed somebody. It was his sister. It was a contained situation. He didn't go out and he didn't wreck somebody and then people could then say, hey, that's my family. We want him brought up on charges. He killed his own sister in the car on accident.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, Jazz, but yeah.
Jason, no, that makes no sense what you're saying right now.
That's how it works though.
No, you
That's
can
law.
get federally charged. Like the state can charge.
It depends on where you are. You're right. It depends on where you are in that situation.
Yeah,
Okay, so if that was the case, Jazz, remember the singer Brandy Norwood? She got into a car wreck and she killed that person in that car. Brandy didn't go to jail.
She got charged though. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a case. So she had legal battles with that. Peter went back to school and was smoking with his friends under the bleachers. So, nah, that also didn't make sense. But nah.
The man, I'm telling you, my uncle got killed. The man never did a day in jail, but now my grandmother did not press charges. She didn't allow them to do that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I never.
I watched it play out. So stuff like this is more so of it's a lot of times like if it would be different if it was like somebody beating or attacking somebody, then that'd be a different scenario. But an accident that happens, like that you cause.
I don't watch enough Snap episodes to know like you gonna get charged.
What was the charge?
I mean, I don't watch a lot of Snap episodes, but you got like vehicular
manslaughter.
So you have multiple third degree. You gotta ask somebody who's really into like law and murders and all of that. But to ask, even if you accidentally kill your sibling, you're gonna get charged. The family does not have to press charges against you. The state does that. So, but I mean, neither one of us are 100% familiar with this, but accidentally killing your sibling and not getting charged or anything for it, nah, that doesn't make any sense. Kris, can you agree or disagree or anything?
I mean, I can agree with that because, like you said, even though the mom, I feel like would have to press charges, and I don't know when Jason said, just letting him live with that. I don't know, like if that was the situation or I don't really understand that either. But you made a great point when you brought up how was he not in jail or something like that. Maybe he was a minor. I don't know. I don't really know.
And like I said, it also depends on the actual state. It depends on the actual state. It differs depending on where you are and how that situation goes. So yeah, I'm just looking it up, but you can see I'm looking it up now, but it doesn't.
Oh, okay. But we see some of the effects of Charlie's death. Alex is depressed, obviously. Annie's distraught. She really, I like it seemed like after the funeral, the husband, he seems like the steady one, but she was just, laying in the bed. She couldn't really do anything, which is understandable. And then we cut to a scene where the son is at school and he's smoking weed. And he has the same type of reaction that Charlie had to the cake. And I was thinking, I was just like, is this some sort of effect of like what happened to her? He's, like feeling like it's happening to him as well, and it's not really a reality, or is it like some sort of, you know, supernatural type thing going on? Like I said, I didn't really know that much of what to expect at this point in the film. It sort of was a slow ride where, it's easing you into the story and what's going on and what's happening. But then of course, Annie is she meets a woman. Her name is Joan, and yeah, Joan, run. She meets Joan. Yeah, she shouldn't have linked up with her. She meets Joan, and Joan is sympathetic with Annie because she also lost her son and her grandson, I believe. I think they drowned, she said. So they sort of form that bond there and they befriend each other. And Joan brings up the mention of a seance, which is how she's able to connect with her dead relative. And we see this play out, and Annie is just freaking out. And I'm just like, certain things. Okay, so certain things, when people say, to run away. Ouija board, I ain't mess with that. Spirits and all that stuff, nah, I'm good. Annie should have listened to herself and just ran. I know you grieving. I know that's, your daughter and everything, but when we get to seance and like contacting the dead and all that stuff, let the dead be dead. Like you can't,
Right.
you got to leave that alone. But we see the seance is actually successful and she's able to connect with her dead relative. We see the glass moving. We see, the writing on the chalkboard, which is, she reveals that's how she was able to connect with her dead relative. So she tells Annie, hey, you can do this with Charlie, with your daughter. All you need is a something of hers that allows you to connect with her through the dead. And then things start going crazy. She gets into it and she starts to imagine different things. And she has a dream where she's talking to her son, Jazz. What did you think about this scene? When she's talking to her son and she's just like giving him like, she was mean. But
are you saying when she was in his room or when they were at the dinner table?
well, that was both. So I wanted to talk about when he was at the dinner table first because that was the scene where it was like mad tension, and I was gonna give Jason the scene in the back. But
okay, so the dinner table scene,
yeah,
it was a like a Tyler Perry moment. It was like them going back and forth screaming at each other because Peter was just like, "What do you have to say?" Because you seem like you want to get something off your chest, and Annie was giving him bars. Like she was saying a lot of stuff that she just had to get off her chest. And when she dropped the line of "You didn't even apologize," and I'm just sitting here like, so wait, you kill your sister, you don't do no time for it, and you didn't even apologize. Like he was a shitty older brother, and he's just sitting there like taking it because what could he actually say? She's and they never really had a good relationship. And she was just like, that face on your face. What was it?
So I like it as that face on your face.
That fucking face on your fucking face. I was like, Jesus.
And then the husband is just sitting there. So like his character irritated me too, because he's just sitting there taking it. Yeah, I wasn't upset with what happened to him. He got right.
But look though, so one thing that happened, that she was speaking with Joan about is she used to be not dream walker. She was a sleepwalker. She was a sleepwalker. And one day she woke up because she struck a match. But prior to her striking that match, she had put paint thinner on. When they slept when Charlie and Peter were in the same room, she put paint thinner on both of them as well as herself. And she was about to set everybody on fire. And I get why Peter. And like Peter wakes up every time she's doing all this wild stuff. So why their relationship is strained, I get why. Like I would probably be that way as well. But with Annie, she's still dealing with a lot of stuff from her mom, like a lot of different stuff her mom put her through. But then like everybody around her was mentally and had a lot of different issues that were either not being addressed or not being dealt with properly. So why she was kind of cold toward Peter. Well, why Peter was kind of cold towards her, so standoffish.
Yeah.
I got it, but then, like I said, after he killed the child, it was definitely kind of crazy. Because, like I said, I've been in situations where y'all ever got in trouble. You go home and you kind of BS around before you go inside the house, or you go in the house, try to avoid any type of conflict or any type of conversation. Like, imagine killing your sibling and then having to go home and deal with that.
Yeah, it's like escalated, especially after she just lost her mom. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I get that, because like you said, that like, how do you even, going back to what you said, when you get in trouble, like you don't want to go straight home. But even this situation, how do you even like have that conversation?
You can't face it. And she, like
yeah.
you said, he didn't even apologize. And at this point, she just wants somebody to take accountability for their actions. That's all she really wanted. And that's just, and like she said, this is a effed up situation, and I want to be able to take this from you, but I can't, because this is something that you have to, unfortunately, have to deal with, or you have to face. And the simplest thing, I thought, at least with this situation, it'll then make us get better or get closer, and it's just tearing us even more apart.
I mean, I get it. Like, just take accountability for what you did, and don't try to move as if we just gonna get past it, because then it gets to the point to where it's just like you can't, like the relationship and bond that we had before, you can't get that back.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get it back.
They never had it, I don't think, from the way it seems. It's like there was a strain the entire time. Well, from what we seen, and then I think that's when, that evening she had the dream. She has the dream, and I thought I'm like, man, hold on.
Yeah, the way she was talking to her, I was just like,
she's in the bed, she sleeps, she wakes up because she sees ants, all the little ants, and I'm already thinking of when Charlie's head was knocked off, and you see the ants on him. So I'm like, then at that point I'm like, okay, so maybe it is a dream she's just thinking about when she passed away, and the ants are leading her to her son's room. In his head, looks like how Charlie was, all the ants all over the face, in the mouth, all on the body. And then she's like freaking out. And then he wakes up, and then he's looking at her like, Mom, what are you doing? And she was like, nothing. I was just, coming in and check on you. And then that's when she was saying, he started, kind of snapping out at her. And I guess she started speaking her true feelings. I never wanted to have you. And she puts her hand over her mouth, and it's like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. But I mean, that's a real reality. We hear a lot more people saying that nowadays. Like, I wasn't ready to be a mother, or I didn't want to be a mother, but the alternative, option or solution wasn't what I wanted to do. And she, he didn't ask her, so what you didn't want to have, so why did you? She was like, your mom, your grandmother made me have you, like I didn't. That wasn't what I wanted to do. She's still freaking out. He's like, so what did you try to say? You tried to kill me? He's like, I tried to do everything I could that they said don't do, or you have a miscarriage. I said miscarriage. Miscarriage. Everything we can to have an actual miscarriage. And then I think that at that point, he gets set on fire, right? And it's a drink, like his body gets set on fire.
I think it's you see the match, and then it just falls, and then it goes to her waking up. But did y'all think when she woke up in that bed full of ants that she seemed really calm? As if you woke up and it's a bunch of ants in your bed, you would just get out of the bed slow?
I wouldn't have reacted the same way she did. I'll say that.
I don't know. I'd definitely be like, there's many answers to what I would like, man, I would definitely get, hey, bro, what you over there eating?
Raid? No, I get that for sure.
But y'all have followed that line of ants to your kids' room?
Curiosity.
Yeah, I would definitely say what's making or causing this issue. Yeah, definitely gonna follow it.
Just like, who got donuts, cupcakes in the room? It was so many ants. I was just like, nah. But
yeah,
go ahead, Jason.
Yeah. And this kind of leads where she is actually, now she's up. She goes into the room. She apologizes. I guess she tries to so-called forgive the son for what he has done. And she says, I want to try something. I want to try something. I seen, I want you to come in the room with me. But I need you here with me to do this. I need you here with me to do this. And then she goes and gets Steve, the husband, brings him in the actual room as well. Hey, we need to try this. I have to try this. I just did it by myself. I know it works, but I need y'all in here with me to successfully allow this situation to work. And so for me, like a ritual of trying to bring somebody back, like that was what that true acceptance of allowing them to go. That's where I would have been at that point. Joan, I wouldn't have. Yeah, after Joan got the moving glasses around the room, I'm like, yeah, no, this relationship is over with. There's nothing else. There's nothing else within here.
But it was just grief, like you said. We saw how she reacted when it happened. Then she just really feels like, I guess, the dream, and I don't know, what really led her to do it. I don't know if we see later on maybe some sort of influence from maybe Joan, what she was doing, but it feels like things was orchestrated in hindsight after we watched the rest of the film. But yeah, the seance, we get that, and
sure.
Yeah, and I'll talk about something else I saw too. But the seance, we get that, and they end up contacting Charlie. And this scene was so creepy because, so first we had the sliding glass, the usual. But when her voice came through Annie, and it was just like, it was like literally her voice, that was just like, it was unsettling. It was a horror movie, but I wouldn't say I was scared, but it was unsettling. You know what I mean? Like it didn't give me like a jump scares and stuff like that, but it was just sort of like, where is this going? And it was like, it was a slow roll. So it gave you that tension as well. I mean, it was pretty slow.
It was a lot of tension.
Yeah,
throughout the entire movie that they played off of between just the family and their interactions with different people.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire movie. But yeah, when they did when she did the actual, like you said, the seance, trying to contact Charlie and have the family be able to see and contact Charlie, it began to freak out Peter and the dad. Just like, hey, let's cut this out. Let's stop.
Water on her.
Yeah, like I said, with it, because when she started speaking like the daughter, I'm like, oh no, what? No, this some devilness, within here. And like I said, she didn't, because it's her grief blinded her though, like I said, because it kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess with y'all can speak to your like a loved one. Would y'all try to speak with them?
No,
I'm good on that. I don't play with that. Yeah, I don't play with that. But then, like, even you saw how freaked out she was with Joan did it. I was just like, that grief was heavy for her to go and try to, do it herself. But yeah, it'd be like that. But yeah, that whole scene was weird. And then we see this starts to affect the son, where he's, seeing different things. He was in the classroom and he's sort of, just spacing out. And then we see the reflection as he's looking over, and like that, it's his face, but it's like demonic looking, like a smirk of some sort and everything like that. And this is when I caught the turn, like you said, Jason, the daughter's presence was still felt, even though she was dead, but we could see that it was focusing more so on Peter, what was going to happen with him.
I would say that light kind of seemed like a future, like I said, like a future, like a doorway type of thing. Because like in the beginning of the movie, when Charlie is heading, she's in her little, I guess, in a treehouse making another project. You see that light hit the wall, and then it goes over her body, like it's sending her or ascending her to a different place. And then the second time you see it, it's when Peter is at school, it hits the wall, and then it ascends over him, like it's sending him within the same realm or sending him in the same exact place. And then that's I guess he begins to go through hell at this point.
Literally. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't notice that. But that does make sense. It did look like futuristic, like,
yeah, like the way it's
X-ray or something like that. Yeah. Jazz, why you looking like that?
Jazz, like, nah, this is some bullshit. That's some bullshit. Nah, that's bullshit. It's a cult movie. It's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it happens. But Annie's suspecting, everything with Charlie is going wrong, which any of us could have told you that. Don't. That's what you did. But she's flipping out, and she tries to throw Charlie's little her book into the fire. ends up backfiring and she ends up catching on fire. And I'm just like, you're in it now. And I didn't trust Joan from the start. So I'm immediately looking at Joan and like she's like something is up with her. Like I didn't trust her from the start. Jazz got something she wanted to say. She's just not saying.
No, you said when she tried to throw that book in the fire.
Yeah.
It's funny because she did it right in front of where Steve was sleeping. He didn't hear anything. Like she threw it in there, it's burning. She takes it out. Her arm is on fire. He slept through a lot.
He probably tired going through all that. Oh, that's Jason.
That's me. I'd be sleep through all of it. Be like, man, I don't know how she died. But look, but this the other crazy thing we hear. So she throws it in the fire. She didn't take her clothes off. She just took the book back out the fire. I was like, man, hold on, let me put this in there too. Like, come on. She didn't think of nothing. She just, oh my God, I'm on fire.
She immediately thought, the book, my arm. Huh.
Yeah.
Let me take the book out.
Yeah, we're attached at the hip. We're attached.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy. But then, she obviously knows that everything is crazy and she starts going through her old books and she sees Joan, who before had no idea who her mom was. They know each other and they got like all these pictures. The mom looked like she was partying. Like it was, it looked weird, but she looked like she was having a blast. So,
I guess them satanic parties was hitting.
Yeah, the satanic parties.
As you would look.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. She looked like she was having a blast. But she sees all the photos together, and then of course she realizes that Joan was not being truthful. When you saw this, did you still have like a direction of where this is going when you saw this, Jason?
Yes. At that point, it's like, okay, so they're doing like, so earlier in the movie, you have, they said somebody had desecrated a grave site. So you're already thinking like, okay, this dealing with the grandma and what kind of, and I don't know, to me, desecrate, destroy, messed up, whatever. But if you look up the word desecrated, it's like ritualistic type of looking grave at this point. So you're like, oh, stuff, there's no telling what they're doing. So she knows the grandma, and then she has the grandma, but where are they having it? You see all these different, like you said, satanic signs or whatever these signs are in different places. So at this point, it's like, okay, so they're doing something, but what are they trying to do? Are they trying to, I would have to assume, bring Charlie back within it. But if we just start going back through all the different things that we're hearing throughout the actual story, Charlie, when she was talking to her mom, right after the grandma died, she was like, hey, when you die, who's going to take care of me? And that's in the trailer. She was like, Peter will be the one, not, but Peter will take care of you. And she was like, your grandmother really loved you. She was like, she wanted me to be a boy. So you just kind of go back into it, like whatever it is that's happening, it has to deal with an actual boy. So then you start seeing why Peter is going through so much different turmoil, from the death, the grieving there, to everything that's happening beyond that. So I kind of had a direction, but I really didn't know where we were going to land, but I kind of had a thought.
And then when we see Annie go to Joan's house, you see a pan of Joan's house with everything that was going on, and you see a picture of Peter in there, and then you see different figurines that Charlie was messing with before she died. So it just, all of that coming together, and you just like, oh, Joan isn't cool.
It's like they were like the grandma was just like, because they like she was giving out keys to the house or something. Like they was just different stuff, like that was disappearing from where they were. I'm assuming it probably was in that tree house though, which it's only locked if you're inside. I'm assuming not when you're outside of it. So you can lock it, so they're just able to go in, pull stuff out, take it, because when she was out in the behind the actual treehouse, you seen like just some random woman out there burning the fire, out there. So yeah, that was wild. That was wild.
Yeah, they were. And then we see Joan pull up to Peter's school, and she's yelling at him, and she's just like, what was she saying? Like, get out or something like that?
I mean, I just feel like I don't, at this point, I don't know what those words mean. I mean, I do know what they mean, but I don't know if they would do something here, so I'm not going to repeat them. But yeah, she was basically saying expel his body, like expel him from himself, and I'm just like, typically everybody is looking and they see this.
Right, nobody said anything.
Nobody reacted. It was just him just sitting there like, he looked like, so nobody gonna acknowledge this?
Nobody else see this but me. Like, I'm the only one. This crazy.
Nobody see this crazy old woman across the street yelling at me, huh? I would have been snapping out like, bro, come on. I don't know. And I truly don't know if that was just in his mind. I mean, I would have to assume so because everything else that happened in this movie, people actually acknowledged. This is like the one time nobody acknowledges it. And he's behind and in between and around a whole bunch of people where somebody would have been like, bro, what? She know you?
Yeah. And then like, you talk about acknowledgement. We cut to him in the classroom and he's spaced out again. This scene was crazy. So like I saw it in the trailer. I didn't know the context of anything, but his hand goes up and it's like gets real twisted up, real weird and everything. And then it pans to his face and his face is twisted up. And we figure out John was doing something for real. And everybody's like, Peter, what's going on? Like everybody is scared. And then he bangs his head on the table. A couple. Jazz, did you laugh? Be honest.
At this scene, no.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking about how he probably got he really messed up his mouth.
Did you know that?
Know what?
He really messed up his mouth.
Did you see how hard he hit that table?
Oh, you mean?
I'm talking about.
Oh no, I'm just talking about the movie.
Oh! I'm talking about the actor. Yeah, I was researching it. He told the director he wanted to break his nose for the scene.
But did he mess up his mouth?
He made himself bleed. Yeah. He tried to. I don't. I'm not there. I wouldn't be that dedicated to the actual acting.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't think he's dropping movies that much. So
he said, "I'm gonna make this one count." I don't know what my next time gonna be. Nah, see, Leo did it in Django. That was an accident. He kept going. This was on purpose.
That was a hand. That was a hand.
That was a hand too. Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
I'm curious in that scene with Leo because he rubbed his entire hand over
that girl
Washington's face.
Washington, yeah.
So, and that wasn't it wasn't two shots. It was like an ongoing shot. So I'm like, did you put your blood on Carrie's face? Because her reaction was definitely real then.
Yeah, but in that point, it's sort of hard for him to break character because he was like in the zone. So he probably did really,
You gonna let somebody rub their blood on your face?
I ain't say all that. I'm just saying.
I was just asking.
Nah, I don't know.
For the scene, Kris. For the scene.
Nah, not this scene. Nah, that's a cut. Cut right away. But yeah, of course, you talked about the body. Steve saw that. He saw that the body had been dug up. I believe. Annie she's begging her husband to throw the book in the fire. Like she does not want anything to do with this. She's just like, yeah, this is crazy. Charlie is clearly pissed at us. Like, we need to let this go. You shouldn't have did it in the first place, but I digress. So she ends up throwing the book in the fire herself, and her husband catches the fire.
I laughed at this scene. This scene was hilarious to me.
It's
because it was funny because she's in distress and straight panic, and she's just trying to explain the entire situation to him. He's not giving a reaction because he just picked his son up from the school because his nose is broken. And his wife is like, I need you to destroy this book right quick. And he's just sitting there. She's like putting kerosene on the book. And then as you watch it, it's just like, is this a setup? Because
that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, man, she's behind all this.
It's like it seemed like she was trying to set him up, and he just kept going along with it.
Oh, that's what you thought? She was behind everything?
I did. I thought she was behind everything. I thought I'm like, oh, they got a twist right there. She's behind it all.
I thought she was crazy the entire time.
So I mean, when he actually they tell him that the body is missing, right? So he knows the body isn't in the actual grave anymore. There was a previous scene when they made it home. He was like, man, what's that smell? Like it stinks in here. And he talking to Annie, like, you know what's going on? They were like, nah, I'm not sure. Right. So when Annie comes home, she's going through and she goes into the attic and she sees all the flies and bees and she sees her mom's body in there. And then for him, she tells him to go up there. He freaks out like, bro, what is going on? And he's like, she never admits or tells him, she's been going to grieving counseling. I don't know why she kept saying I'm going to the movies and whatnot. So for him, with her going to try to get herself together, he thinks it's her who's been digging the body up, over that time period, and she's the one that brought the body. So for him, he was like, you're the one that dug that body up. You're the one that put it up there. And now you're trying to get me, you say you're sick. And there was a scene when they emailed him about the actual body, he's sending a email to the psychiatrist or a psychiatric ward, possibly to take her back, saying, hey, she's regressively getting worse in this actual situation. So we need to get some help for her. But then he stops because he finds out the body is missing. So I don't know if he wasn't necessarily going along with it. And then he was like, nah, I'm not fueling this fire, ironically, anymore within this situation.
He let that go on too long.
She took the book from him and then threw it in, which is kind of, I'm assuming his body got tied to it because he touched it. I don't know how that works.
That's the only way.
Explained.
Yeah, that's the only way I can see that happening, because his whole body burned up. So apparently the mom was she had a purpose because she didn't get burned up the first time. Her whole body. I don't know, but she ends up, the son comes home and he finds his dad burnt up on the ground. I'm just like, this family.
He was home. He was in the bed.
Oh, so he was home already?
Remember, okay. he had just broke his nose, so he was home. He woke up, but he was asleep. And then of course that's where it starts to go into the climax of the movie, because he's waking up and you see the mom in the corner of the wall.
Yeah, and she started chasing. This is when I'm not gonna say woke up, but this is when I really start like, oh snap, like we getting somewhere, because
woke up.
I mean, hey, it was slow. It was a slow roll, but we get to that point. She starts chasing him, and his first instinct is to run, obviously, because his mom is clearly. And when he goes into the attic, she trips, which is very convenient. But he goes into the attic, and he's just like, "Mom, I'm sorry. And all you hear is the banging, right? So I'm thinking she's banging with like. Yeah, so I'm thinking she's like banging with, I'm thinking she's banging, but it cuts to her and she's literally like hanging like Spider-Man and banging her head on the bottom of the attic. And I'm just like, she's clearly possessed, but like, what just happened? So like whole situation.
When the husband died, like when he actually died, the same thing happened to her that happened to Charlie and Peter. That little light, it did it again, and then that's when she got possessed. But he ran. Well, he looked over. He seen a naked man in the corner first.
Oh right,
well, he said a naked guy. Then he seen the mom chasing him, and it was just like, bro, what's going? But then she started, knocking herself out, and then this is when Peter in the roof, in the thing, he finally apologized, and now that he's facing, whatever he's facing.
That seemed like a fear apology instead of like a.
Yeah, he was under duress a little bit, and then he started looking in the actual attic. And he just started seeing all the possession or the satanic rituals all throughout the room.
Yeah, what you feel about this? Like you got something to say?
Nah, it sounds like you guys enjoyed this bullshit. But
we just.
I mean, if we did. I know we just talking about the scene. We setting the scene up. You hated it. Tell us what you hated about it, Jazz. Tell us why this wasn't it.
That's what I'm curious about.
Probably unanswered questions.
What was unanswered? We're gonna get your answers. We're gonna get your questions answered today. It's been 4 years. We're gonna get them answered today. What's up?
Okay.
No, it's
rapid fire, Jazz. Rapid fire with Jazz. Why you hate it?
Wait,
that's the session. Yeah, come on. You've been a little too quiet. Come on, let's go.
I thought we wanted to finish the reviewing the movie first. And
Mom dies. Peter dies. Pagan King is back. He takes over Peter's body.
But no, Kris, we got to talk about him jumping out the window.
Yeah, so he
killing himself, and then the spirit goes into his body because he sees his sister's head that he left on the street and went home. And you see his mother, who was chopping her own head off at the ceiling of the attic, and she's floating into the treehouse.
I saw like, how did she even get in there?
It's like y'all trying to find logic in this. There's just so many points where it doesn't make
why? Okay, So
that's what
this
it is.
okay. So why
Or
are we
demonic,
looking for,
okay.
why are we looking for logic? And our favorite thing has a man who has an iron suit that can fly and fight purple.
Don't bring Marvel into this, Jason.
No,
We're
because
not
no.
doing that. No,
Because
that's
I'm
not
saying,
fair.
why are we
Jason.
looking for logic in a demonic movie? What
I'm
We
not
asked-
Jazz is, but don't bring Marvel.
No, it's not even that. It's just some of the stuff like so many. It just doesn't make sense even in the horror realm.
Why don't
How is Peter not locked up? Oh, because we needed his body. We
okay,
didn't
so
need him to
okay,
get
wait, so
arrested.
okay, so wait, okay, so I'm finished. Okay,
And then
boom,
if
okay,
he
boom,
didn't
boom.
kill his sister, then he would
Involuntary
have been able to graduate high school.
involuntary manslaughter, based on the level of offense for criminally negligent involuntary manslaughter, is 10. I don't know what that means, but you can Google it. The guideline range of criminal history, category 1, without acceptance of responsibility is 6 to 12 months imprisonment. With acceptance of responsibility, 0 to 6 months. Hold on, wait a minute.
Chris,
And it,
what are
but
we
it's
doing?
but it's but
I
it's
don't
but
know.
it's
I don't know.
but it's at discretion of the judge. So so if we can go in a situation, hey, my sister was freaking out. She put her head out the window. I seen the dog. I swerved. She got hit. You don't have to go to jail, Jazz. Like I know you don't want to accept that. You don't have to go to jail. Now, Peter had been, if Peter had been Paul in our community, he probably would have been locked up, but he wasn't. So that luxury wasn't afforded for him. It's a different situation.
Man, if you say so. But I'm curious to see what Jazz got to say after everything plays out.
It's played out. We're ready to hear Jazz now.
How did she get at the ceiling when Peter walked in when seeing his dad crispy on the ground? How was she up at the ceiling, on the ceiling, just chilling?
Well, she was possessed.
She was possessed.
Yeah, she was possessed.
So what had her floating headless into the treehouse?
The forces.
The
The demonic
possession.
forces. Yeah, the demonic forces. Because remember, so
if we can watch The Exorcist and we can explain why this kid's head can go in a 360 in a full 360 8 times.
Yeah.
What's the difference from a woman being possessed and being able to scrub? You okay with Peter Parker getting bit by a spider and jumping in there?
Come on, man. What Peter do? Stop it. Come on, you keep come on, man.
I'm just saying,
I didn't bring logic into the situation. I just know it's like a demonic, I wasn't trying to look at it like that. But but no, I did have questions. But we get to the end. I want to get to the end of the movie and then Jazz.
Okay, yeah, go. So
yeah.
so Peter, well, the head isn't what makes Peter jump out the window. It's these four naked. It's these four white old men in my attic. Like, what the hell y'all got going on up here, bro?
And then his mom is like, I don't know what she used to cut her neck, but
it looked
it was a wire or something.
Like a wire type thing. And she just
she was going in though. She was okay. So she kills herself. Peter jumps out the window. Did he die? I don't think he died.
He dies. I mean, so there's different conspiracies in this scenario, whether he dies, he fades. But if you look at it like there's a shadow that look like it leaves the body, and then that little portal thing you keep talking about throughout the movie, that goes over him, and then of course that's when it's assumed Charlie is back and she's finally in that boy's body, because the mom, when she was looking through her mom's things and she's reading through the book, the sacrifice is, it has to be a boy that takes. It has to be a boy that can become the payment king, which that's a researchable thing, and I don't know why I researched it, but that's dealing with demonic devil worshiping type scenario. But that's a real thing for somebody.
Yeah, and then Charlie did mention earlier that she wanted her to be a boy or something like that, right?
Yeah, she needed her to be a boy. So they were basically looking for her to possess or take over an actual body, and that's the body I guess she took. But with her being that she done killed her whole family, or seemingly killed her whole family, I don't know how. This Jazz shit, I don't think he'll be able to escape after all these people have been killed in his house.
Like, he got bodies.
But it was funny when after he jumped out the window, he got up and he seen his mom body just floating into the treehouse. There was no music. There was no nothing. It was just like, it looked silly almost. All you saw was a headless body just floated up to the treehouse. And I'm just like, I had to rewind it. But I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay, sure. And of course he goes to the treehouse. And this is where we get the, everything happens.
Yeah.
We see the grandmother's headless body. We see his mom's headless body. And we see his sister with the way it looked on the road pretty much was headless, and their whatever ritual.
No, it wasn't headless. It was the head. It wasn't headless.
That's what, her head. Her head was, you see it in your background on top of like, whatever ritual they had going on. Yeah. And then we hear Joan's voice pretty much saying, hey, we chose you to
be our payment king.
To be our payment king and all of this. And this ending, when I saw this, just like staring at the way he stared into it, then it cut. That's how I saw Midsummer. That's how did y'all see Midsummer? Both of y'all?
We did.
Okay, so at the end, you saw Florence Pugh. She was looking into the camera, and it was just like a deadpan look, but it was like cracked a smile a little bit at the end. It was sort of the same thing ending with this, and I saw that as well.
Yeah.
And he ends up being the payment king. And
it's Charlie as the payment king because he kept making that. Well, he kept making that clicking sound.
That was weird.
Yeah, it supposedly was how she processed her feelings, allegedly.
So, I had a question. I'm gonna ask Jason and see if you can tell. So we saw when they were, but Charlie got when they were going to the party, we saw the telephone pole, and then coming back, that's what ends up killing Charlie. We saw that symbol, right? That was the same symbol from the cult.
Yeah, it was.
So they set up Charlie dying.
Allegedly, they set this entire. I don't know how they were able to just put all this plan into fruition, but allegedly they set this up. But look though, so throughout this within the entire movie, they're watching him, like, because he's in like one time he was just in his room smoking, and then you can see somebody in the bushes breathing hard as they're actually watching him smoke. So I mean they're watching, but like as far as how he was getting to the party and how he was gonna get, I'm assuming they just based it on when she's going back, but now the nuts being in the cake and all that stuff, I don't know how they predicted that piece. It's just maybe the luck of the draw in that scenario, but I don't know. I don't know if they needed her. Well, I don't know if they needed him dead or her dead. Like, how to determine how she was gonna die in that. So that piece that's gonna be the mystery I can't explain. But that whole thing of them they put that stuff on that. They put the stuff on that sign, and I think that was just more so like just marking their territory type thing. But now the dog in the street, maybe that was gonna be like just an accident that was gonna be caused, and she was just gonna die from it type thing.
Yeah, I didn't really get that until I saw the symbol, because they focused on the telephone pole, like going there.
Correct.
I didn't know it was gonna end up splatting her head on it, but
yeah, but there's no way they knew that was going to happen. Like her head hitting that exact pole, her freaking out, putting her head out the window. I don't know.
Unless maybe they was expecting him to swerve and then the car hits the pole and that.
Okay, so that's the only thing I can think.
Jazz, I'm trying, right? I'm trying to figure out.
Reaching. Stop.
But that's
there's no reaching.
That's the storyline.
Her getting her head knocked off. I don't know, like him swerving the way he did. Now that, like I said, that part there, but them putting that dog there for her to try to swerve around it. Yes,
that could be a situation. You look at that scene, and it was a deer. You look at that scene, he could have easily ran over that deer to where there was no swerving because the deer was
Jazz,
already
Jazz, when last time? Bump that. Jazz, when the last time you ran over?
You look at that road, Jason. You look at that road that they were on. It was no lights. It was just his car in the middle of nowhere.
That's why he swerved.
No, but I'm just saying, there's a chance to where he could have just kept driving. He was coming from a party where he was smoking and drinking.
Who's gonna do that?
Nah, I ain't.
Are you saying that there was not a chance for him to be intoxicated, leaving that party, going back home?
No,
are y'all saying that's not a chance of that happening?
He wasn't. He was intoxicated, but you said just going over it. When's the last time y'all ran over roadkill?
I've never, like a squirrel or something. Yeah, but not.
I didn't ask that. I said, when's the last time y'all ran over roadkill? Like it's already dead, and y'all drove over the top.
Yeah, it was like a squirrel or something. Yeah,
I don't do like, and I've been told not to do that. Like I'm in, and yes, we know I am in Arkansas. Cool, you can make the country jokes, all the animal things. I see a lot of different stuff, and I've been told, hey, Jason, stop doing that. Like, stop swerving when you see these animals. Just go over it. It's not going to matter. But for me, I just don't want that on my car. I've been in the situation. I was in this situation. Me and my manager, we're driving up to Oklahoma, and he runs over a deer. This like a deer is already dead, and he runs over it. And we get to the thing. I'm like, bro, I said, I seen the car bump, and I heard a loud slap. I said, you didn't kill it? He said, no, it was already dead. And he was like, dude, all the vermin is attached to the car now. I said, you shouldn't have ran over it. I moved when I seen it.
Right. That's what I said. If it's like a squirrel or something, then I'm not going to swerve out of the way for a squirrel. But a deer?
It was a deer.
Yeah, that's what. And this was a big animal. I think it was, that's kind of wild. That's pretty
in the car.
So we could compare Jason's example he just gave, because he experienced being in a car with someone who ran over a deer. And we can look at Peter driving, the possibility of him running over a deer. So obviously it happens. But I think if the scenario was, did they put that deer in the street so he would swerve? There's a 50-50 chance that would happen. And let's just say he did swerve, which he did, and then he hit that pole. He could have gotten a car accident to where they both would have died, and then they wouldn't have had nobody to put the soul in. So I mean,
that's true.
You're increasing your chances of your entire plan not working out.
Yeah, so, I get that, but I think when you get like with this whole situation with like demonic forces and all of that, it was a little bit extra sauce on it. You know what I mean? Like they have things set up, but it's gonna work out the way they want because they got supernatural elements.
I don't know, like them.
That's how I saw it.
Because her going to the party eating cake. So within that, so it's hard to blame the mom because she shouldn't have pushed Charlie to go because she didn't want to go. She should have just been able to stay at the house. She shouldn't have went with Peter, and the relationship that she has with Peter. I would be like, I'm not leaving him, this irresponsible boy, with my kid. No, that's not happening. So at this point, she's with him. You can't really predict that piece, but with him being where there would have been extra precautions within this situation. Cool, he's not drinking, but that's not his vice. Smoking is. So of course, he's not going to go be drinking. He's smoking.
And then he could have had her an EpiPen.
That's what I'm saying. That's something to say, Jazz.
Who has high allergic reactions, but they also foreshadowed that at the grandmother's funeral. They was just like, make sure it's not nuts because we don't have her EpiPen, and then you see her out with her brother, still don't have it.
And that's negligent. That's negligent as hell. Being parents without the EpiPen. If you know your daughter has a high allergen, then when was the last time y'all first dealt with peanut allergy in school? Like, not dealt with it, but you have to be precautious in what you do because people are around you that have this allergy.
I didn't really deal with it that much in school, but I have a cousin that has a really high peanut allergy. Like, I know she can't be around it at all.
Right.
Yeah. See, that's how we was like I was in like 4th grade. This guy, his name Bruce. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, Bruce came to school and he had like a pin like, bro, we can't eat Snickers no more because this nigga is allergic. Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? But like, he was like, yeah, nah, I would like everything close up for like I'm about to die. So so it's definitely a big thing. But yeah, like you said, I don't know. A lot of things I kind of throw out when it going to the actual movie. Now how they was going to time her getting her head knocked off that thing, like that was kind of wild within that. So
they didn't have nothing to do with that. That was just bad luck.
Okay. So and in that I'm more so within that situation that was just a bad luck. I think that's just what it was, because the daughter was talking about who gonna take her. Well, I mean, I guess if her soul was being passed to somebody else, somebody would have had to be there to take care of her. But they killed the whole family and left her alone.
Peter going to jail.
No, only reason I say like I'm dismissing logic, but when you add the supernatural element, they set up things the way they want things to happen. So that was my whole thing. And then like even Jason confirmed they had the symbol was on the telephone pole, so they clearly had something to do with it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know how.
You just gave a Jason's they wrote it that way speech, but in different words. The demonic element helped them out. And I'm just like reminded when Jason said, well, when they put the Scream outfit on, and Michael when they put these scary movie costumes on, they have extra super strength. Like, there's
a super element. There's a super element to it, Jay. These people be, man, look. Roman done got beat up, stumped out, jumped up. He grabbing people up, yoking them up. He throwing them out of windows. This man just extra. Nah, all of them have some extra sauce on them.
Look, that demonic force over here carrying a grown woman's headless body from the house to the tree. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, what the hell is this? Why didn't you get one of them naked people that was in the attic to bring the body over?
They brought it. That's a good thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're the ones that brought the grandma body in there.
Oh, maybe it flows.
So why did they chop the bodies off?
The heads off.
You in this touch the connection. What you said about the husband getting burned up, that didn't make any sense to me either. I'm sorry. Even if he did touch that book, is this the book from Evil Dead? Like you burn it,
so now, okay, so that didn't make sense to me, but I mean, it's within the logic of that movie, it does.
But y'all, go ahead,
but look, you had, and this is why I say it may have been all connected because Charlie, she was cutting off the bird's head. Remember at the beginning, the bird's head was cut off.
Everything was
the head.
Cut off.
Yeah, so the ritual at the end was the two, the heads was off, and then you even saw when Charlie died, her head popped. That's what I said. They orchestrated. That's my story. I'm sticking to it because everything was heads getting chopped off, popped off. So I'm sticking to that. Like they had something to do. That was how Charlie was supposed to die.
This movie was super unsettling to me. I'm not gonna.
Don't get it. Yeah, don't get it twisted. The movie sucked.
I know, Jay. I know.
Don't get it twisted. The movie sucked.
How long it took you to say that?
I gotta be partial.
We weren't trying to. We didn't ask if the movie was good yet. So I mean, if he didn't like it, he didn't like it. Yeah,
it wasn't good. I was being partial. I was just going over the movie, but and I think so. I think for me, the reason why I say that is because even on the trailer and even like, the scariest movie, like all this stuff, it wasn't scary. It was unsettling. Yeah. And, it was a slow roll, not in a sense like it dragged, but it was sort of like what's going on, what's happening. So I get that with the suspense and everything, but it wasn't, I think, I don't want to say it was hyped up or overhyped, but that may have, Jazz said it was overhyped, but that may have, affected my expectations of the film because I'm sitting here thinking like, I'm about to be super scared. Jason was hyping up the end of the movie. Everything goes up, which, to be fair, that is when things popped off for real. But
I wasn't... Wait. So the end. Okay, so last 15 minutes of the movie. What? Like, give me what scale of 1 to 10? What you got?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. This is my scale, right? So I'm watching a movie on the couch, and you're on the couch, you're just chilling, right? So I'm on the couch, I'm comfortable. I'm like, okay, sometimes you're watching a movie, you scroll your phone,
Also, what time are you watching this movie?
That don't matter. That's not
okay. So wait, no. I'm gonna let you set the scene, and I am, because this is the last movie that we're doing for Halloween, that we're doing for the month of October. I am happy first off because I'm tired of watching horror movies. Just 100%. Honest to God, this is probably the most horror movies I watched in a long time. I've watched horror movie TV shows. I watch horror movie shows, shorts, longs, TikToks. We're going to go in. When we get into the ledge, I got some shit to say. Kris, back to you.
Thank you. So, yeah, I'm on the couch, just, scrolling, watching TV. And, it's cool. I'm trying to see what's going on. But like I said, it's a slow roll. I will say during the last, whatever minute, once the husband got burned up, that's when I sat up. I sat up, put my phone down. Like, okay, now I can pay attention because something's popping off. Outside of that, it was just like,
You were at the 140 mark when that happened.
That's what I'm saying. It was a slow roll.
So the last 20.
But Jason did hype up the end, to be fair. And I will say that people were saying it was the scariest movie of all, all this type of stuff. I didn't get that, but it was unsettling. And I will say that when Charlie died, that was a big surprise because I thought the movie was focusing on her being weird, but of course we go into the mom and Peter. But yeah, I wasn't. I guess we'll get into it. Was it good though?
1 to 10 for the last 15 minutes, brother. Trash. What I'm doing? 1. You say 1?
Look at Jason. Jason wants me to get on his side.
1 is trash. 1 is trash.
The last 15 minutes.
1 to 10. I said the last 15 minutes.
Okay, the last 15 minutes. It was up. So I'll give it like a 7.5.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. I enjoyed the last 15, 20, because it was, like I said, from the entire movie, it's been tense. It's just a tense, unsettling feeling the entire time. It amps up from whenever she sees the body. That was to me. So
But I
was
laughed.
it good?
I laughed twice though.
I'm
During the
not
last
mad at
15
that.
minutes.
I'm not mad at that. So was it good? I mean, I did too, because like them little naked people, like I'm just like, bro, what why are you throwing this? Like this just this left field within here. So was it good though, Kris? You said it sucked. Jazz, you said it sucked. I felt it was good. Did you want to rapid fire question? Did you want a rapid fire question? Or did you already get all your hate and loath for this movie out for us today?
All right, so yes, I definitely did not enjoy this movie at all whatsoever. Anytime someone says it's one of the best movies ever made, I look at them like they are remedial and never ask them their movie opinion ever again. But I will say, let me finish.
That's harsh.
Let me finish.
I got you.
Life is harsh, but damn, Jason, now you made me forget what I was trying to say.
Put your hands up here like this.
Like Professor X was trying to do Wanda. Yeah, I hated this movie. But I also don't like cult films. So that has a huge reason why I don't rock with this film. But yeah.
And see, for me, I didn't know, it was a cult film until the end. So, because Jazz, mentioned it earlier in the movie. I didn't know it was a cult film until the end. Like, I didn't know where we were going with everything. I mean, you said it, but I'm saying, as far as watching the movie, I didn't know what was happening. I just knew once Joan showed up, I didn't trust her. And I thought Charlie was the focal point of the movie. But like I said,
I mean, technically, Charlie was the focal point.
Well, I meant the one with her head still attached. Not the spear. I was talking about the look.
So that's just the point, the pivotal point of the actual movie. Just as it goes to that piece.
I figured it was cold vibes because when you saw the mother in the casket, they zoomed in on the charm on her necklace. And then when you zoomed in on the daughter giving her speech at the funeral, she had the same type of necklace on. So immediately I was just like, it's going to do some cult-ish, demonic type of vibes that I was getting from it. Because going into it, like the trailer doesn't let you know anything. Because I thought it was going to be more so, I thought her sculptures were going to have a bigger impact than what they did. They was just featured in it. I was just like, I thought this movie was something way different than what it actually was. So
were they foreshadowing maybe the sculptures? Are you talking about the mom sculpture?
Yeah, I think so. But I thought it was more.
The mom sculptures was more so just her telling her story, how she could tell it the best way she could express it. But yeah, like I said, the movie, I mean, it was a cool movie. It's not the greatest. Like when people saw every movie that comes out, it's the most scariest movie ever in life and the most unsettling movie ever. That's what they do to hype you up to the hype train. Go see my movie. Why are we? Hey, they're not going to say anything else. That's what they're going to always say. So words like that don't spark my interest.
Say that.
Yeah, I was going to say I never heard it like they talking about that movie.
I see when every movie I've seen, typically when they drop their little promo trailer, whatever it is, just like when Jazz, when she came on Abbott, whenever a movie comes out or a show, they drop a hype trailer and they want to make sure the fans are saying whatever they want to say, and people are always saying the same. Just like Barbarian, you have the people that say, "Hey, this is a scary movie since Hereditary." And when it comes to it, like scary is a what's the word?
Subjective?
Sound it out.
Yes, scary is subjective. Like everybody, what's scary to you may not be scary to me. So stuff that scares me is stuff that's actual, like more so reality things. Reality movies are more so scary. So dealing with the slasher, because I can see somebody just snapping out and being just going to go kill. Like that's more scary because it's a real thing. So like something like this, a demonic movie, considering I don't like the spirit and stuff like that. I don't believe in stuff like this. So stuff like this, it doesn't scare me. However, the way you watch the actual movie plays a different part, which brings me to my part. Josh, you got something to say because your hand went up.
I do, because you said, it's funny because we mentioned that to you at earlier episodes when we was just like, what scare you don't scare us. Because you say you can watch certain movies at night and like, because I think it was demonic movies. Me and Kris was like, we don't watch those at night. You was like, nah, you go ahead. Those don't scare me. And then Kris was like, nigga, just because it don't scare you don't mean it don't scare nobody else.
I know. I'm just no. So for me, no. So for me, it's just like the whole thing of when watching the actual, like watching the movies, like it's the whole thing of I do this at night. I'm like, no, you have a choice of what you do at night. You pick stuff that doesn't bother you versus what does. So if you're really into it, I feel like you should just be able to pick all of it at any time. Which brings me back to my point I was about to say. If you watch movies when the freaking sun is at the highest point and you can see stuff, I don't think that's the right time to watch a horror movie. It's just you. I need you to set the mood. So I'm going to ask both of y'all, because Kris, I know your watch method for when we do stuff. So I know typically you watch stuff prior to when we're about to record. Jazz, how do you set the mood for your horror movie when you're about to watch a horror movie?
How do I set the mood? I mean, I
Yes.
turn off all my lights and I just get in my bed and turn it on.
Set the mood. What is this?
I feel like you need to be able to set the mood. Like when you go into the movie theater, right? There's no sun is peeking in. There's none of that. You have the whole surround sound, the TV. I mean, not the TV, but the screens are screen big. Everything can be seen. You can't mute the TV. You can put your hand up your ears if you're trying to watch out for jump scares and stuff like that. But typically, when you're at home, you control the environment. But when I watch a horror movie personally, it has to be nighttime. The lights are going to be off. And like I said, I can dictate the actual TV. Like I have to have my headphones. So I want the full feeling of what's going on within the actual movie. Because like it's the whole thing of, like I said, just watching it. Like, because if you can control everything, or you stopping it, you on the phone and stuff like that, I feel like it takes away from the experience. So like I'm like. But yeah, no, I don't know. I put points on the horror movie watchers who's watching them at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, I watched this bum ass movie. I went to the theaters and watched this and was disappointed.
I get it.
Like
you're not gonna like everything.
It hit different when you spent your money on it.
It do.
I get that.
Kris,
You went to a movie with some people?
Yes.
And that's like rule number 2. I don't do that. I hate going to movies with people.
Nigga, what you got all these rules for?
Because when I go to the movie, like I don't people typically when you with people, they want to talk or they want to laugh or they want to joke about something. Like, bro, shut the I'm watching the movie, watch it. Don't
they
talk
should be
to
like
me.
this at the theaters.
Like, come on, like I don't know. I'm a people like texting lights and stuff like that. Like, I don't need none of that. None of that.
I get it. I mean,
that's why movie first dates are trash.
I mean, so yeah, that's a we know each other at this point type of date for me.
Right.
Like when dealing with that. So because I guess Peter was the last man standing. Who was y'all favorite final man in a horror movie? What is that? They have a name one. Come on, Jazz. You the horror movie aficionado. Kris, name one. Come on.
I'm gonna say my man from Vampire in Brooklyn. Even though Angela Bassett survived too, but he was a love interest. So he could have got killed, but he didn't. Light-skinned dude. He was in House of Pain
Alan Payne?
Yes.
Jazz ain't know Alan Payne?
I don't know.
I don't remember his name, but I know his name.
I don't know if they qualify, Jazz.
Why not? Because the love interest, he could have died.
He's a love interest. You in these love interests, man. They do the love interest movies just for Jazz. I'm convinced now. Who you got, Kris?
I don't really have one, to be honest with you. I sure am proud of it. You want to see my screen? I ain't got one. I don't know.
I would say Jesse from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He made it to the end, but I think he fell asleep and then Freddy got his ass. But yeah.
So the kids from It.
Sure. Oh, that's a good one. Mike.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's in Stranger Things?
No, he died.
No, he didn't.
The kid from Stranger Things.
He didn't die.
When he got older, I was thinking of the older character from it, but he did survive it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know who the hell them kids was when they got older. I just was the black one and the girl. Them don't two I know. Like I know who they were. So I'm not mad at that. I'm definitely going. I'm gonna have 1A, 1B. We definitely going LL Cool J, Deep Blue Sea, or we going with Ice Cube and Anaconda. So these are going to be mine in here. So yeah, Jazz, get in your bag, sis. I thought that's what you do.
Wait, are you so I should be able to use Alan Payne. Oh no, but Danny wasn't a love interest in Anaconda.
He was not. Get out of here, Jazz. Stop it. Stop it.
Busta Rhymes. Halloween Resurrection. Ooh.
True. Nigga going to 2001. All the black trope moves. They wasn't killing us no more. LL Cool J and Halloween H2O. Yeah, but we just going through. Yeah. So that was that. Oh, the last one. Last question. Who is y'all favorite final girl from 2022? And that'll be our last Halloween question of the year.
You want me to go first?
Jamie Lee Curtis. That bum ass Halloween Ends.
You didn't want to say see it?
So I don't know if I can say Sid because she was a feature in her own franchise movie. But actually, if you think about it, would you say that Jamie was also just featured in Halloween?
No. Because
she
was the final girl, Jazz.
She was the final girl, yeah.
It wasn't Allison.
Yeah, I would say Allison would be the feature if that was the case.
Okay.
It was definitely about Jamie.
Nah, it was about Corey. But
no, the movie is really about evil taking shape in different forms. It's the truth.
It's the truth, boy.
It is no. It's not that.
It's fine.
I say it's about evil taking from the little kid that got killed, and then it passed into Corey, and then Michael Myers taking it back. It goes back.
So it might be on YouTube.
I did.
Yeah. Favorite final girl. I was gonna troll Jazz and say Sam, but I'm not gonna do that. The girl from what's the movie called? X. The main character who, the same character, Mia Goth, I think her name is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was dope. And I don't know if I liked anybody, huh?
Was you about to pick another one?
I was gonna say I don't think I would.
You know how you
Damn, I was like, Kris about to do like another one, just like Link of Thrones.
Oh, I was just thinking of the movies I saw, but nah. Yeah, okay, so yeah, okay, I'll go with that. I'm not gonna say.
Who you got, Jason?
I have one, and I don't want to pick one that's gonna probably ruin it for y'all.
Is a movie you haven't seen yet?
Y'all haven't
probably
seen
Smile
yet.
Or Barbarian.
It's probably Barbarian or Smile, yeah.
So I'm not gonna pick that one. I'm not gonna say which movie it is, but now I gotta step back from that. So I'm gonna go with
You can go ahead and say it because Kris is going to forget, and
I'm gonna go with Mia Goth from X as well. That's what I'm gonna ride with. I enjoy her in the actual film.
Yeah, I gotta check out
copy Kris.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, the other one, when y'all see, because I know eventually I feel like y'all will watch this movie, which I feel like is probably it's definitely top 3 horror movies this year, for sure. I think that person was the best of the ones.
Well,
so
Link of Thrones, yes, sir. Jazz, I'm gonna let you go first since you did not like this movie. So you could probably.
I will say I will take Gabriel Byron.
I'm never letting you go first again.
Is that yours?
Yes.
Let's see if I got the movie. So the movie that I pick is Ghost Ship.
Oh, no, you didn't get the same.
Oh, okay.
She said.
Yeah, that was a dead giveaway.
For some reason, I always used to confuse the movie with 13 Ghosts. I don't know why.
You confuse it?
I do. In my mind, it makes the movies the same. Just like House on Haunted Hill and The Hunted. I don't know why. My mind always crosses these movies.
Is it because it's a location that's possessed and the people are stranded and locked in that one location getting killed by the ghosts?
Possibly.
Yeah, I can see it. All right, Kris, you looking for another one. Jason, do you have your Link of Thrones ready?
I actually got my Link of Thrones, but
go ahead, Kris.
All right, so my Link of Thrones is gonna be Toni Collette. Of course, she was the main character of the film, the mother, and she was in Knives Out. Really good movie. Definitely looking forward to the sequel coming out later on this year. So yeah, she was in Knives Out.
Got it. And I'm gonna go with Peter, Alex Wolff. He was Spencer in Jumanji. That's definitely an underrated film. A lot of people be trying to hate, but that's a real good. Both of them are actually really good.
Who hates on the new Jumanji?
Go to the chat, you will see.
I'll leave my comments to myself.
Jumanji was good.
Jumanji was really good. Both of them was good.
Yeah. So that's I don't know how he. Well, I do know how, but I don't know how he goes from him to The Rock. But yeah, okay. But it's a video game. It's a video game.
You do whatever you want to do in a video game. Yeah. But yeah, that's Lick of Thrones. Like I said, Jazz, you're never going to get first ever. I see how I feel, Jason, but it's cool. But yeah, that was Hereditary. Was it good though? I say no. Jazz say definitely not.
Nah.
Yeah, and Jason liked it. But yeah, this is our horror movie month of reviews. We made it. How y'all feeling?
To 21, feeling good.
21. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for November. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I got
it's gonna be a full month. It's gonna be nothing but fun. Great movies. We got some classics for y'all. We have some triumphant movies for y'all. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun month.
Definitely gonna be a fun month. But yeah, I want to check out this fun month. Make sure y'all continue to like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the love and support, all the feedback, all the just interacting with us, Discord community, IG posts, we love all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all. Yeah, Hereditary. That's all I gotta say. Was it good though podcast? Any last words, lady and gentlemen?
I don't know if I said this at the intro, but if you wanted to watch this and stream it, it is on Paramount Plus, Hulu, Showtime, and Prime. So everywhere except for HBO Max and Netflix.
And Disney Plus. It's not a Disney Plus.
No, it's definitely not.
Anyway.
Yeah. It is Halloween, so please be careful, be safe, watch yourself, watch your kids.
Watch out for floating headless bodies.
Yeah, avoid telephone poles if possible. All of that.
Don't stick your head out the door.
Don't split the pole.
And run over that deer body.
All right, y'all, we out.
Don't split the pole. That's foreshadowing.
Wow.